Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. We roll along here in the playoffs. 3 more games on Friday. We're kicking it off with the first game of the night. The Celtics up 2-0 back in Orlando now. And we've got a couple questionable tags in there we'll talk about with Tate. Well, Tatum's doubtful. Drew is now questionable. Holiday. So we'll take a look at what that means in this one. We've also got episodes up for the other 2 games on Friday night. So make sure you are subscribed to this channel and continue to follow along with us as we break down each and every one of these games throughout the rest of the playoffs, throughout these weekdays as well. But Nate, let's go ahead and jump right into your first look here for the hometown squad for the season Magic.
Yeah, I mean, first glance, I'm like, why Boston only -4.5? Is the change of venue really worth that much? That we're going from double-digit spreads to that. But I see, Drew indicating he's not that healthy. Maybe, that indicates Boston is going to come out sleepy for one game here and do their gentleman's sweep thing. But I mean, I'm taking Paolo. The same thing we took in game 2, right? Is Paolo to score, Franz to score, but the Celtics to still win. That's one look. I've got a different parlay that will get you plus money with just Paolo to keep scoring. Because I mean, that's the other thing at first glance is like he's plus money to score 30, which he's done in 4 of his last 5 playoff games now, averaging 34.4 and has a 36% usage rate in those games. Whether he scored a lot or not, he comes with it against Boston. We're talking 37% usage the last 5 now, including this series and 3 regular season. And in this series, like the usage is just monstrous. 69 field goal and free throw attempts. And that doesn't even count the fact that now I think the assists are going to rise because Boston's understanding that they can't guard him one-on-one. Like, no, there is no matchup. And they're sending he's drawing 2 or 3 guys. And then eventually these Orlando guys are going to hit the open shots. And that's going to be some assists for him. But I mean, as far as it's also opened things up for Franz. Like we saw a little bit of 2-man game from those guys right away, right? We saw Franz being more aggressive, even with Porzingis on the back line, able to finish over him. And I mean, if both these guys are going to have an easier afternoon if Drew Holiday is not fully healthy. So like that just is a big boost on top of what we were looking at in game 2, which is no Tatum and therefore no big wing to stop them other than Jaylen Brown, who's carrying now a bigger load on offense.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to double Paolo? Like, do you think they'll bring somebody else or are they going to stay stubborn with it?
I think they are going to start doing that. Yeah. It's going to fall on like Anthony Blacks of the world to make a secondary move. But I think Corey Joseph was out there like stabilizing that offense a little bit, and that Orlando is going to be ready for it and have some good counters.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because I watched all of his shots back, every single one of them, and including the ones where he went to the free throw line. They refused. They refused to bring anybody, and he's methodical as hell. He's just sort of walking to his spots. He's getting into his groove. The first 5 minutes of that game yesterday, whenever it was, yesterday, 2 days ago, he came out really jittery. He came out like forcing the issue. He seemed unsettled, and then he hit a shot, and then he was settled, and then he just got what he wanted. I don't want to, be hyperbolic here, but like it was Kobe Bryant-esque, just like, let me walk you to where I want to go. And they left him wide open. So if they do bring that change of game plan, then I like that look for the assist for him. And I also like maybe some Cole Anthony to come in and because like you said, if it's going to be Anthony Black that they're relying on for those open jump shots, they're better suited for Cole to be in there a little bit more. But let me go to PP here. Let me go to Peyton Pritchard, over 3.5 boards. I'm also going to take him for over 2.5 threes. So whichever one you prefer, if you want to jump on both, I like both of these. And starting with the boards, like I tried to go with the RA last game. He ended with 5 boards, but then had 2 rescinded in the stats from the first half to the second half. That was tough to watch when I had the 7.5 rebounds and assists combined. But the 3.5 boards, the boards were the reason I liked it the most. I added the A to the R because it was made it plus money. But really, it's always been about the boards, especially against this team. And he's so sneaky good down there, like I talked about. He had 9 rebound chances yesterday. I would argue he ran cold on those boards, right? He had 3 boards on 9 chances. He's good for 45 to 50% of his rebound chances turning into boards. And he still averages 5 per game without Tatum and with Brown and White. I don't even have Drew Holiday accounted for in here, but if you take Drew out, everything goes up. If you look at him on the season in terms of the minutes he's on the court without Tatum, but let's say he's got at least some of the other starters. I'm not talking about like him and, Neemias Queta. I'm talking about like him and the starters. He's still at 5.5 rebounds per 36 in that time frame. It's the magic too. Like he's pretty good to go get boards there. He's definitely matched up mostly with Anthony Black, and Anthony Black is definitely hanging out in that corner when he's on the court there with both those guys. I imagine he would just take the Cole Anthony matchup. That'd be a pretty fun little scrappy guy matchup to watch as well. But main point being, like, he's not guarding anybody on ball, right? He's guarding mostly the guys that are waiting to catch that catch and shoot stuff from Paolo and or Franz, and to a degree, Corey Joseph, like you said, who's the only other guy besides those two who's running any kind of offense from up top. KCP plays above the break, but that's only because he's going to either set screens and then pop out for a flare or nothing else, right? So I think the boards are good for Pritchard there. And the threes are silly low. I mean, with Tatum already not likely to play, and first of all, let me put it this way: he's at 3.3 threes per game on the season. So you're giving me flat here to get to go over his season average, and it's not like he hasn't done it against this team, which I understand is very good at limiting the catch and shoot, but he don't need to catch and shoot. Like Peyton is wet from at this point. If he's set, like, he's wet. That's really what it comes down to. And he's on 7.8 attempts per game. But let's take Tatum out and not even count what happens if you take Drew off, because with Drew out and Tatum, well, that would happen to be when he went for 43 against Portland, just to give you the ceiling for what Peyton P is capable of in those situations. But you take Tatum out, we're talking about 3.7 threes per game on 9.8 attempts. Do you like Peyton Pritchard to hit 30% of 10 attempts? I do. I like him to hit 33% of 9 attempts. So I'm really good with him, because I think the fewest threes he sees in this game is 8, and that should be good for him to get the 3, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's baked in that if role players play better at home, then they play worse on the road in the playoffs, and so that the books are saying, like, yeah, he's gonna come down here in Orlando. But I mean, the Celtics have been better on the road all year, like, and Peyton Pritchard, part of that, like, that it's just added opportunity. Like you said, if Drew is out in addition to Tatum, you gotta like him. So I talked about Paolo. I mean, 25 plus points and 5 plus assists gets you to plus money here. Also, his core line here for that is 32.5 points and assists. Don't hate that, but I mean, to get plus money for just saying both is going to happen. Like, I think he is both going to be able to score, and he's going to be able to force double teams, to answer your question from earlier. I mean, game 2, yeah, he just kind of unlocked things where some of it was him getting a shot to fall and then feeling more confident, but a lot of good stuff schematically from Mosley, like getting him on touches on the move, getting him with a head of steam where he's able to, he's not again with the hyperbole, a little bit better than like a LeBron, who has the ability to make that spin move or make an adjustment in the lane and then draw even more dudes, like not just like sheer raw athleticism in terms of like when LeBron starts going downhill, and obviously not the same court vision. But the point is the Celtics are compromised on the back line, trying to deal with Paolo. That led to 15 potential assists in game 2, 7 actual assists. But I mean, again, role players better at home. KCP not going to go 0 for 7 or whatever, I think. And guys like Anthony Black, Caleb Houston, if he sees the floor, aren't going to be quite as shook as they were in Boston. So I do expect the Magic offense to rise a little bit around him, and the potential assists should be in the double digits here. So as long as we get like half of those to land, I think he's getting 5 dimes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the cap there with Paolo being a facilitator essentially in this one a lot more. If you do see them bringing any kind of double, I mean, not even just a double, like have another set of eyes on Paolo Banchero while he's going 1-on-1. These guys are just looking at their guys they're guarding and like, I guess if Paolo gets his, he gets his. It's just the only thing that would scare me is, does Joe Mazzulla just keep being his stubborn self and be like, this is never going to happen. We're just not giving up jump shots. We'll give up 2s for 3s. I don't know. But I do think that at least 5 assists is also a good look in the plus money that you're getting here. So let me close it out, and I'm going to talk about KP here. Kristaps, I'm going to go over 7.5 boards. I went with this last game too, but I got plus money, and the word is out that Kristaps is a good rebounder. I guess it's also out that he's 7'4", and Wendell Carter's like a healthy 6'10". So like, it's just that's simple domination there. But as far as the boards go, like he's just getting a ton more without Tatum. Like Tatum clearly eats into his boards. I talk about this in the reverse when I talk about Tatum, that when Kristaps is out there with him, Tatum is better at rebounding. He gets more boards when he plays with Kristaps. And so the inverse of that would seem to be true. Kristaps would get boards when he plays without JT. And such is the case now. He's over in all but one game that he's played without Jason Tatum this season. That was against Orlando earlier in the season when everybody was missing for Orlando as well. And so Kristaps was guarding Tristan da Silva, which I talked about in another episode as well, I believe. So Tristan da Silva not going to see this game, and he's not guarding anybody playing on the perimeter like that. He's guarding Wendell Carter, which we saw in this last one. He's at 9 boards per 36 with Tatum off court when he's playing with the other 3 starters. If you take Drew off court as well as Tatum and you put KP out there, he's at 35 points per 36. He's also at 12 boards per 36. Not the biggest sample size. And that includes with Papa Al on the floor, by the way. So I'm not just talking about him playing with him and 4 guards. It's him, Horford, and the like. So I'd still like the 20 points for him as well. You can still get that at even it's on FD. So I think we're good with the 20 plus, like I said, 35 per 36 without JT or Drew on the floor. I think he's going to have another solid game.
Yeah, we were both looking at the zinger here as the guy stepping up without Tatum. Jaylen Brown had that fantastic individual game, dancing around and hitting some tough shots, but
he did.
I think it's more like by the dip with Porzingis. I think both of them are going to elevate certainly their usage and their scoring. So I do like 27.5 points and rebounds here. And Zinger's not going to shoot 0 for 5 and 35%, but he's just a problem down low. Yeah, 8 offensive rebounds in this series. He had 14 free throw attempts last game, or double-digit free throw attempts. So, yeah, Orlando, they do not have a good matchup. That's why we had some Goga sightings there, and now he's got something out for Goga after he made him bleed his own blood.
Nobody does that. Yeah, and Kristaps ran super cold, right? Took plenty of shots, just awful field goal percentage in this last one. So I'm happy to go right back to it and get that regression to the mean. But that's all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Check out the other 2 episodes we have up for the Friday night slate in the NBA playoffs. Until we see you next, happy betting.